This, how much to select if you're replacing the sky, depends on what you're doing to the sky. If we replace this with a radically different color, like a sunset, which we're going to do by the way, you're going to want to select more of the blue to hide it, right? If we're going to replace it with another blue sky with clouds, I don't care if I have a little blue edge around the trees, do I? So long as the new blue is not too different from the old blue. But I need to clean up the edges of my selection here, especially over here. Look at that. Took a chunk out of the side of the house, didn't I? So if the color range over-selected, hit Command Z to back up, Command Z, Option Command Z, or go to the History palette. Hopefully you're familiar with how it works. I've got my polygon lasso again, and I'm going to do the color range again, but at a lower setting. Select Color Range. This one's a hard one to get right in one go. Quite often you'll have to use it several times. So I've got a lower tolerance now. Turn the fuzziness down. Turn it down a little more. Turn it up. Turn it down, you'll leave more of the blue around the edges. Turn it up, you'll take more of the tree away. Hit OK. Now notice this. I'm missing little specks up here in the sky. Do you see that? I'm going to hit Command H to hide it, hit delete. Well, I have to unlock the background layer. I relocked it a minute ago. Pretty good selection, but I'm missing little bits all over the place. So I'm going to come over here, go to Quick Mask Mode. I could get my paintbrush and start painting white to clean all of this up, but I don't want to. Instead, I'm going to get out of Quick Mask Mode, and I'm going to choose this. This one's fun. Select, Modify, Expand by 1 pixel, and watch what it does to those little stray pixels. But now it's cutting into the house a little too much, isn't it? So I'm just going to contract it 1 pixel. It should do exactly the opposite, right? But it doesn't. Those little stray pixels are no longer selected. So expand it by a pixel, contract it by a pixel, and get rid of the little stray pixels. Did I lose anyone on that one? Okay, then I won't do it again. But my selection is now too hard edged. That's one thing about expanding and contracting a selection. It'll usually give you a harder edge than you want. So again, Quick Mask Mode, Filter, blur it slightly. Get out of Quick Mask Mode, Command H to hide the marching ants, hit delete, see what you think of the selection. I need to refine it a bit more here, because take a look at the edge of the sign. Kind of jagged, isn't it? So now I want to show you, oh look, I've got some blue here, don't I? Now I want to show you yet another technique that you're going to use, hopefully, if you get this one. It will be one of those techniques you use constantly. Maybe they covered it in Photoshop 1. Anybody know what click, shift, click means? Let me show you. I'm going to go to Quick Mask Mode. I'm going to get my paintbrush. I'm going to shrink it down. I'm going to pick up some white paint. That's white. Option click. Did I delete my selection? I surely did. Let's undo that delete. There we go. Now I'm going to go to Quick Mask Mode. I have a paintbrush here. It's right here. Can you see it? It's right here. I'm going to check the hardness. I've got a fairly soft brush. So if I come up here and paint with black, you can see what kind of painting it's going to do. See the edges are nice and soft? If anywhere in your image you click the mouse, let go of the mouse button, move to a different location, hold down the Shift key and click again, it paints between those 2 points. Click, Shift, click, paints between the 2 points you click. If I hold down the Shift key and paint again, look at that. Can you see that as a way to refine an edge? Watch this. I'm going to get rid of that. I need a little more not selected here because it's cut into the sign a bit. See the sign here? I'm going to pick up this color of paint, Option click. I'm going to go to the corner, click, come down here, Shift, click. Here it's selected too much of the sign. Pardon me, too much of the sky. I'm going to pick up this paint color with the Option key, click, Shift, click, and paint right along the edge. Move on over. Notice I've got a jagged edge here. in my selection. You see the stair steps? Pick up the paint color down here, which is black. Click. Grab her hand with the space bar to move over. Shift key. Click. Paints between those 2 points. Look at my nice edge now. If you need this to do a curve, do short segments, the line. Take a look up here. If I wanted to do a curve, it'd be click, shift, click, shift, click, shift, click, in short line segments. And I can do curves real easily using click, shift, click. Oh, don't want to save it right now. So I can come over here and go, pick up the white paint, and I'm actually going to overdo this on purpose, cut into the sign too much, because up here, I was getting too much of the sign, down here I was getting too much of the sky. So I've just deleted that, basically I got rid of that edge. Option click to pick up my paint, and I'm going to paint in a new one. Click, shift, click. And if you don't quite get enough, watch this. I last shift clicked right there, correct? Come down here, hold down the shift key, and paint back over it. Come back up here, click again, paint over it again. And you can make that edge just a little bit wider each time by doing that. Just go back and forth over it a couple of times. Same thing around this edge. Click, shift, click. Click, 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 click. You get the idea. Click, shift, click lets you paint between the 2 points you click at, or 20 points you click at. This brings up an important point. For really complex selections, you are simply going to have to do a lot of cleanup work most of the time. All the techniques I've just shown you sometimes don't work. Sometimes don't work. And you're simply going to have to get into quick mask mode and get a small paintbrush and paint in the stuff you want selected and paint out the stuff you don't want selected. If you're doing that, and it's a lot of detailed work, every so often, drop out of quick mask mode, save the selection, and if it's something you already saved earlier, just replace what you saved earlier, and then save the document. Go back to quick mask mode, clean it up some more. You would not be happy if you spend 45 minutes in quick mask mode cleaning it up, and Photoshop spews all over your shoes, and you lose everything. Not good. So save early, save often, be paranoid, because the power will go out. Photoshop will do something it's not supposed to. Something else in the operating system will go sideways. Get used to it. Save early, save often. The only time this is a real issue for me, and it is, I work on, as mentioned previously, trade show graphics. I have an 8-core machine running at 3.2 gigahertz with 4 video cards and 16 gigabytes of RAM. I've got 2.5 terabytes of hard drive space. I'm adding another 3 terabytes to it next week. And my machine can't keep up. You're working with a trade show graphic that is 15 feet tall and 30 feet wide at 200 dpi, and it's a 9 gigabyte document. Photoshop is not fast under those conditions. So I'll admit it, there are times when I only save once an hour when I'm doing work on those suckers, because it could take it 8 minutes, 10 minutes to save, especially if it's a PSB document, not a PSD. PSD is a Photoshop document. PSB is a large Photoshop document. Images 30,000 pixels and above. 30,000 pixels in height or width and above. But for trade show graphics that are 15 by 20 feet at 200 dpi, you have to save as a PSB. And saving a PSB file is 3 or 4 times as slow as saving a PSD. So don't ever save things to the PSB unless you have to, because it makes everything run real slow. Something else about PSBs, you can't place them into InDesign. You can't place them into Illustrator the way you can a PSD. So if you have to use a PSB, the only thing you can open it or print it out of is Photoshop. But for really large images, or images with extremely high resolution, it's your only option. Because if you hit 30,000 pixels or above, it has to be a PSB document. Most of you will never have to play with PSB. At least I hope you don't. All right. Any questions about all the lovely techniques that I've shown you? And if you want, and if she's really nice, ask her, because she's videotaped everything I just did. Yeah. I might be able to give you a copy, so you can review this a few hundred times. What we're going to do now is take a break until 20.